What's up, guys? Welcome to the 18th episode of the Trackside Girls podcast, season 2. I feel like this one's gonna be a little more chaotic. Normally, or at least the past, I think, 2 episodes, I've tried to, lay everything out, beforehand, but instead I took a nap. I fell asleep. It was actually by accident, but I got off work and just, knocked out. So we're gonna try to cover everything. Um, but just fair warning, it might be a little sporadic. Um, so we'll see how this goes. Um, as always, we're doing NASCAR first, and it was only um Xfinity and Cup this weekend. Um, First in practice, really, I would say the only big thing that happened in practice was Boris said completely trashed his car. I believe he was coming out of turn 1, I think it was. Wait, is that what it was? Did he hit the wall right there coming out of turn 1? I think that's
Was it
where.
turn was it turn 1 or turn 11? Which one was the cuz which one was the turn that everybody could not get past? Was it turn 1?
I Because you're going up the hill, underneath the bridge. That's where uh, spoiler. That's where Austin went off yesterday into the dirt and almost flipped. That was turn 1.
Right. Yeah.
So I think that's
Yeah.
where everybody was having their problems, because Cam Waters spun right there too.
Mhm.
So, um, but yeah, so Boris said actually had to go to a backup car because he trashed it up pretty badly. Um, Josh Balicki stopped in turn 7 with a broken rear end. This was all practice, by the way. Jeremy Clements spun in turn 10 off the track. Luckily, he didn't make any contact with anything. Um, Austin Hill went off track in turn 3, spun in the grass. Luckily, no contact. Um, Riley actually spun in turn 9. And then also Ryan Ellis spun in turn 10, and he made minor contact with the wall. But ultimately, it was Shane Van Gisbergen that won pole, which I feel like you take him to any road course, you know that he's gonna be a contender, just because of his background. But Ty Gibbs started on the inside in second. Let's see, Sheldon Creed had a vibration within the first stage. Austin Hill slid in turn 11, made contact with the outside tire barrier. So turn 11 is the hairpin at Sonoma. So he hit the outside tire barrier in turn 11. Shane wins stage 1. Leland Honeyman Jr. Okay. Yeah. So Leland actually spun from 29th. Boris said spun in turn 7 from contact with Alex LeBay. Thomas. Oh gosh, I have no idea how to say his name.
I was going to say I'm looking at his name and I don't even
Um,
Anna uh, no, I'm going to butcher it. I'm not going to say it.
yeah, couldn't tell you. Anyway, he spun in turn 11 from 27th. Then there was green flag pit stops right before the end of stage 2, which Ty Gibbs actually wins, um, which ends up putting since Ty stayed out to win the stage, um, he had to go in and pit, and it kind of put him towards the mid to back end of the field. Um, and so this is where the big one happens. The first caution for cause, um, and Austin Hill um, was first. You had Austin Green on the inside for Jordan Anderson Racing. Um, Josh Williams spun coming at the top of turn three, collects a lot of the field. Jesse Love, Thomas, that with his strange last name, Brandon Jones, Josh Williams, Boris Said, Ty Gibbs, Ed Jones, Jeb Burton, Parker Retzloff, Ryan Sieg, Preston Pardus, Chandler Smith, Kyle Weatherman, Josh Balicki, um, Blaine Perkins was in it because he was right behind Ryan Sieg. Um,
It was basically the entire field.
yeah,
Just
and
just say that. It was basically the entire field.
yes, it was quite a bit of um of people. Um,
It was rough.
and just after that, um, after the restart, Cole Custer spins due to contact with Sam Mayer. And then Chandler Smith spins. Is that the second? I think that might have been the second time that Chandler spun because I
And
think
I don't even
the big wreck was caused by like Chandler Smith sideways, but I can't remember like where exactly.
I remember because I honestly feel like I blacked out the entire Xfinity race because all I know is after that wreck happened, I was like, I don't know what I just watched.
Yeah,
So I was
it
like,
was.
I kind of just blacked out after that, I guess, because I don't remember it
Um,
very well.
but either way, Chandler's was spun. Jesse Love spun, and actually brought out a caution, because he couldn't get the car going soon enough. Um, let's see. Sheldon Creed wheel hops and hits AJ Allmendinger, causing him to spin. And then you had Ryan Ellis spin in the back of the field. Um, Sheldon Creed passes Sam Mayer for second on lap 76. Hold on, gotta take my B roll. Okay. Um,
Pausing for the B
pause.
roll.
Um, and then Parker Retzloff gets into the rear of Ryan Sieg in turn two, um, and spins both Ryan Sieg and um, also Preston Pardus ends up spinning in that same turn. Um, but look, it stays green. Um, Shane Van Gisbergen takes the white flag and wins the race. And again, he does his signature drift around the track, and Austin Hill is not very happy with Shane because Shane kind of wheel hopped and shoved Austin Hill out of the way to take the lead. Um, and then you have Shane drifting all around Austin Hill's car. And it's kind of because it sounds like it would something be like kind of petty that you would do, but it's also very entertaining.
And also the fact that Austin Hill flipped off Shane as he
Yes.
went by him.
Yep.
You know,
They're supposed
here's
to do
my
that.
thing up. Here's my thing about Austin Hill. He may be a completely different person off the track, but on the track, he gets so mad when people do like the slightest things to him. I'm like you don't do that to other people. Like, I mean, it's racing, so get over it. Like, people are gonna bump into you. Do they mean to? No. Sometimes do they mean to? Yeah, because you do stuff to make them mad. But Austin Hill gets mad about like the slightest little things that happens to him, and that's what's annoying. Or what they don't do, and then he just purposely wrecks them out, aka Cole in Charlotte. Like he just I don't know. I don't know. That's just how I feel about him. He just does things that sometimes make no sense.
Okay, something I would like to note. Blaine Perkins was the highest finishing Ryan Sieg car.
What?
Yeah. They were having so many troubles. Like, Matty D was not having a great race. Like, he didn't have, like, I don't think he spun or anything like that at all. But I'm pretty sure he qualified fairly low, if not, like, very low in the field. And he just could not go anywhere. And then, like, Kyle Sieg, again, not really anything wrong, just like not going anywhere. And I knew the two front runners of that team was going to be Ryan and Blaine, because Blaine is like fairly good on road courses, and I feel like he would have had like a top 15 if he didn't pit that last time. So I'm not too sure why he pitted, but it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Um, but, and to be fair, I think the only reason he ended up being the highest one is because Ryan Sieg spun that last time. so, so, but you know what? We'll take our wins where we get them, okay?
Well, I feel like even just like picking people for the road course is hard in general. Like I said last episode, they call people like the road course kings, and they're definitely not anymore because like they've been dethroned, and it's I don't know. Road courses are hard because like you used to know exactly who was gonna win, and now you never know who's gonna win because it's not the same people half the time. It's different people,
See,
so it's so
so
hard.
I I didn't necessarily go out on a limb with my pick, but I had a feeling that you put Shane Van Gisbergen on a road course, he's gonna finish up there if he is not involved in a wreck.
I
So
mean, did I want
that's
to see him? Did I want to see him win? No, but did I know he was gonna win? Yeah. I mean, well, yes and no, because he was also having problems too because he said he felt a vibration in his car. A lot of them were
he
having
yeah,
like
he thought he had
a,
voltage problems.
a lot of them were having problems with their cars. I mean, Ty's engine just straight up blew up. That's why he was out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a lot of them were having engine fails, and so I honestly didn't know if he was actually going to win or not because when they played his radio the last time, he was like, I am struggling. So, man, I guess props to him for figuring out how to drive the car with its problem.
There's any other like Xfinity news? Unfortunate news actually. Um, coming back from like this episode's obviously gonna be out on Friday, so this it would already be past like news from the past. But unfortunately, the Our Motorsports hauler has been sitting on the side of a highway in I'm pretty sure Wyoming for since yesterday. They had a belt come off, which poor like I know the guys on that team, and it's very unfortunate news. Cause like, man, I love Randy. He's such a cool guy, and I hate that like they have something like this because that's not an easy fix. So it's possible that he could still be sitting on the side of the highway until tomorrow morning, which today is
That's
Monday. And so the way their timeline is, which actually the two hauler also had issues, but I believe they actually got back on the road. Um, but so the Our Motorsports hauler has to get back. They're going to immediately unload and basically simultaneously load back up so they can leave for Iowa. Um, like a lot of people don't talk about like because I'm sure you guys are aware that want like I want to be in in this sport, like in motorsports. So like I want to travel, like do media for teams for the sport, whatever. But a lot of people don't talk about the like misfortunes. Like they always they show like the good parts of it and the exciting like on track stuff, but you don't really see the behind the scenes of like these team members. Like they've been out in California or like on the West Coast for like 2 weeks now, and now this hauler driver has probably less than an hour back home and then leave again for the weekend and not going to be back till probably Sunday night, if not Monday. So that's three plus weeks that like these people have been away from home.
He's living son.
Like that's one of the things that like people don't talk about, and it's it's rough. Like I know I always like oh my gosh, I want to travel so much, but like you there's a lot that um there's a lot of stuff to balance out the good and the bad. Um it's not all sunshines and rainbows. Um but on to the cup side of things. First, Kyle Larson got his waiver, um, which we kind of figured that that was already going to happen. Um, like, there was really no indication that he wasn't going to get one. And I can't remember which driver said it, but it might have, actually it might have even been Joseph Newgarden. Said something about wanting Kyle to come back.
It was actually a lot of the IndyCar drivers, and it was Joseph. Joseph did say that he would like to see Larson complete the double to do the double duty to complete the Indy 500 and the Coca-Cola 600. But a lot of them said that he is gonna be back next year.
I'm
So
pretty sure it was a 2 year deal.
I think it is because I think somebody posted his contract or someone saw it. I don't know, but they said that it was a 2-year contract. But I mean, a lot of the IndyCar drivers said that they want to see Larson back next year because they said that it was fun having him around and like they gave him like all pointers and all that. But you know, a lot of them said, but because Bob was the one that posted the interview with Joseph about him coming back and doing the double again next year. But I thought that Kyle Busch's interview was funny when they asked him about if Larson was gonna get a waiver, and his only words were, "He's Kyle Larson."
Yeah,
I
that
was
was
like,
funny.
I
Like,
was like, okay.
well, that's the thing. Like, if they didn't grant Kyle Larson a waiver, that's essentially eliminating the chance for anyone to ever attempt the double.
Well, that and you think about it this way is if NASCAR didn't, a lot of the NASCAR fans would be mad. But also, they gave Larson the waiver, and a lot of NASCAR fans are mad because they don't understand it. So it's not, it's
Yeah,
a,
it's
it's a lose-lose situation.
yeah,
Like no one's gonna win in it. Like people are mad because he got the waiver, and then people are mad because they don't think he should have got the waiver. And it's like, it's really not your decision. It's NASCAR's decision what they want to do,
yeah.
basically.
It's
I
like
don't know.
you already saw it coming. Like a lot of the drivers even said themselves that they didn't see NASCAR denying him. So you look at all that and like even if the drivers even say it themselves, like come on, you know it's gonna happen.
That and you know NASCAR was just building up the suspension of if they were gonna give it to him or not because they waited what? Was it a week or 2 weeks before they gave it to him?
Um,
How long did they make How long did they make Larson wait?
I think it was a week, maybe a little more.
Exactly. They were gonna make him wait until they came to a decision, but let's be real. The moment that they asked for a waiver, they were gonna give it to him. They just made him wait
Yeah, it's
because that's NASCAR for you.
um, but other NASCAR news: Todd Gilliland um
Uh,
announced his contract extension. So he is going to be staying at front row. Um,
multi-year contract,
yeah, which
which is what
is
my which is what Michael McDowell wanted, but they didn't give it to him. But my dad said they probably gave Todd it because they didn't want another driver who was worth it to walk away. I'm like, fair point. Yeah. Which I think it's funny because Michael McDowell is literally the one that has been wanting a multi-year contract and they didn't want to give it to him. Or maybe this has been planned for a very for a while. This I don't even know. I don't even know.
who knows? Who
I
knows?
don't know.
Cons-
All I know
cons-
is that I hate
conspiracy
NASCAR.
theories.
I I hate NASCAR silly season because it's driving me insane.
Fair.
It's driving me insane because I don't know where anybody's going.
On to the race for the Cup Series. Um, so apparently Chris Buescher had to start in a backup car. Um, and qualifying, Josh Berry hit a curb and spun. He did not make any contact. He also spun in practice, but did not make contact again. So he was just out there, I guess, doing donuts or something. Um, Cam Waters. Okay, so this is where he like slid sideways in turn one. Um, he just barely missed that outside wall and spun through the grass. And then Daniel Hemrick also spun through the grass in turn three. And then Eric Jones went off track spinning in turn 10 in practice. Um, Ultimately, it was Joey Logano who got pole. Um, and lap two, we already get something. Denny Hamlin has engine failure. Car literally blows up.
I'm sorry, but
Um,
I laughed out loud when that happened because it excited me. It made me.
um, I was watching two different. I was watching the actual race, but I was also watching Carson Hocevar's stream. He was streaming his in-car camera, radio, and his like telemetry from the NASCAR website. But so you got to hear like all of his radio messages and stuff.
Look, I tried, but that boy is way too chaotic for me. I tried that, and I was watching on my phone, and my phone was like at its dying percentage.
um,
Oh my gosh.
so the caution came out because Denny Hamlin was leaking oil. Um, but because of that leaking oil, John Herney Mitchek hit the wall from sliding in the oil that came from Denny Hamlin's car. So that was like a 2-for-1 on Toyotas. Um,
Not gonna lie, the Toyotas actually sucked.
yeah, it was. They were not. I think. I don't know. I think Truex was he, like he was running up there originally. I think.
He was,
He was
and
doing good until the final lap.
yeah,
Yeah.
he was doing good until he about finished uh, the finish line, and then it was like, by the way, you're out of gas, so you're on your own.
Um, but lap 15, Ty Gibbs has a flat right rear. And, just goes straight into the turn 1 wall. And because of that, I'd busts, pretty sure broke a toe link, or, turned the wheel, just completely busted the front right after going into the wall. But they restarted, and, so Joey Logano, after pitting, so he's back in 21st, okay?
I just think how it was funny that it was called what? The Toyota Mart.
Toyota Save Mart.
And all the Toyotas absolutely were awful. So I kind of found that funny that it was literally Toyota and all the Toyotas just were not good.
But yeah, so keep in mind Joey Logano's back in 21st after pitting. So you have Chase Briscoe and Austin Cindric. They make contact and spin in turn 8, and because of this, Joey Logano spins into the middle of the track after contact with Ricky Stenhouse while this is simultaneously going on. And with Joey spinning, Harrison moves to avoid him and catches the door of Joey, completely rips the side of his car open. So because of that, Joey has to retire the car. They can't get that fixed. So he's out. And then, so Tyler Reddick won stage 1, and then Allmendinger was stopped on track. This I'm pretty sure is where, Austin went off track and almost flipped the car. So, he was in turn 2, went sideways, and he went up the hill. And, with the way that this hill was, even the commentators, I'm pretty sure Clint Boyer was he should have flipped that car. How did he keep that on the ground? That should not have been possible. But he did. And Will Brown pulled off track in turn 11. So coming out of the hairpin, he pulled into the big open space that's in the hairpin because he had a possible engine issue. And here is where the fun happens. Turn 11. You have Eric Jones go off track, right? So he comes back on track, across the track. I think it's Eric Jones that goes off track. He's either Eric Jones or Bubba Wallace. Either one of them. Comes back on the track.
It was both of them at one point.
But either way, Eric Jones comes across the track. Josh Berry doesn't know he's there, so moves over in front of Eric Jones, clips the nose of Eric Jones, sends Josh Berry down into turn 1, has no control of the car, hits the inside wall, just basically goes bowling into turn 11. Hits about 6 cars. You have let's see, Cam Waters was involved, William Byron, Christopher Bell, Austin Dillon. It stopped up a bunch of drivers, so they couldn't gain those positions. But it was quite a bit of them. Let's see. Here, let me read it. Josh Berry out of control into turn 11 after contact with Eric Jones. Josh Berry hits Christopher Bell, causing a chain reaction, collecting Austin Dillon, Josh Berry, Martin Truex, Christopher Bell, William Byron, and Cam Waters. So, and so they get a restart. And Austin Cindric and Noah Gragson get together, spin, and then with Michael McDowell trying to avoid them spinning, he also spins.
Yeah. That was chaotic in itself because did not know who was in what car because it was so hard to tell because the cars that were turned and then the cars that couldn't get through to go anywhere because they were trapped. So
Yeah.
I was like, what is happening right now?
Now, the one paint scheme I did find funny. Brad Kozlowski had minions.
Minions!
Yes, had minions on his car. His fire suit was Gru, and then his team fire suits were the minions. So if
I guess
you
I didn't. Wait, I guess I didn't see that.
yeah,
I didn't know that
they're
his
on
fire
our.
suit was Gru.
Mm-hmm. Well, see, I didn't realize it either until I saw the stripes of the scarf.
Now I have to see this.
But ultimately, Chris Buescher wins stage 2. And so after stage 2, Ryan Preece spins from 3rd in turn 4. Harrison Burton goes off track in turn 2, but keeps going. Then you got green flag pit stops.
Wait, but I actually kind of love it. I love it. That's super funny though.
So,
Uh,
right before the white flag, Michael McDowell radios that he's losing a tire. And then Kyle Larson takes the white flag as leader. This is important because they throw out a caution um, at the end because so Ross Chastain gets into the back of Kyle Busch, who they're battling for 5th. Kyle Busch ends up going to 11th. Kyle Larson wins because Martin Truex Jr. was out of fuel just after turn 11, and he is like basically creeping down, like to the start finish line. And because he was going too slow, they had to bring out the caution, which Kyle Busch also had issues, but he was not going at the same speed as Truex was. Which a lot of people were complaining that why did Kyle Busch finish 12th instead of 17th, which was because when that caution comes out, it freezes the field where they are, and so which is how Kyle Busch didn't lose those 5 positions that he originally did after the caution came out. But yeah. So it was quite an eventful race. Even
for
both.
For I was gonna say for both Xfinity and Cup, it was some major pileups.
So in the ARCA race at Sonoma, had Noah Gragson, Brandon Jones, and Sam Mayer, which Sam Mayer actually won the ARCA race at Sonoma.
Oh Sam, it's your birthday.
So Yahoo is actually joining Sam Hunt Racing for a couple races with Corey Heim and Tyler Reddick driving those in Iowa, New Hampshire, and Nashville. Corey Heim is taking the first 2 and Tyler Reddick in Nashville. Oh, and actually, so we talk about SVG being like a road course, like God, right? That was his first ever Xfinity Series pole.
Oh yeah, it was.
Yeah. But like we don't ever really think because he is an older guy. He's like 35, I think. So like you wouldn't really see him as a rookie even though he is in our sport. But yes, it was that just like information kind of just like goes over your head. But yes, it was his first career pole. Something cute that Stuart Haas posted. There was a kid at Sonoma playing with water bottles, spraying Noah Gragson in the garage. um, which was pretty adorable. Of course, Jesse Love could not leave the longboard at home. Going out to California. Um, Ryan Sieg and Parker Retzlaff actually had some words after the race. I don't know what started it, but what I saw was coming out of turn 11, Ryan Sieg went into Parker Retzlaff, and then the reason Ryan spun close to the end of the race was because of Parker Retzlaff. So they had some choice words after the race. And hopefully the SVG and Austin Hill, hopefully their beef is squashed now. Shane says that now they've both taken a win off of each other. So we'll see how that progresses. And it was Zane Smith's 25th birthday this past Sunday at Sonoma. So for INDYCAR, first news at so Hall of Fame driver Parnelli Jones, winner of the 1963 Indianapolis 500, passed away at age 90. And so that happened earlier last week, I believe, right after we finished filming his episode, last episode. And if you guys don't know who that is, Kaz Gralla actually did a throwback this past time at Darlington to Parnelli Jones. So if you haven't seen that Mustang that Parnelli Jones actually originally drove, it's a pretty sick car. Some more uplifting news. Our boy, David Malukas, that got sacked from McLaren, is back, baby. He's back with Meyershank Racing in the 66. He's going to be starting in that car in Monterey on the 23rd. At I believe it's Laguna Seca is when where that race is. And so we spoke last episode about how Teo Pourchaire was getting a lot of threats towards him after the events of Detroit. And so apparently Augustin Canapino takes a leave of absence from INDYCAR after rejecting that Teo got death threats from his fans. So I don't know when he's coming back, but I believe it's indefinitely at the moment. But yeah, so Canapino has taken a leave of absence. And the person taking his place is Nolan Siegel, if I pronounce his name correctly, in the 78. That is who took his place at Road America. Not too sure how long he's going to be gone, so I'm not too sure if Nolan is going to be the one continuing in that seat, but I guess we'll find out at a later date. So in practice, it looked like Colton Herta was going to be the front runner of the weekend. In qualifying, I guess more so the kind of biggest news, Joseph Newgarden had a very scary hard hit in qualifying. Luckily, he walked away from the crash, but obviously did have to go to a backup car. And it was Linus Lundqvist that got pole for Road America. He is a rookie, and he's the first rookie since 2021 to win pole in IndyCar. As for the race, when is there not a chaotic lap 1? I just don't think that's ever not possible to have a non-chaotic lap 1. So into turn 1, Lundqvist was hit from behind, spun in turn 1, and he was actually spun by Marcus Armstrong, his teammate. Whoops. Joseph Newgarden actually narrowly escaped that accident. But Newgarden did end up hitting Colton Herta, and ended up spinning Colton. Kyle Kirkwood took the lead after that, and Scott McLaughlin came out in second, but passed Kirkwood for the lead in on lap 4, and was there until lap 16 when Joseph Newgarden took that spot due to Scott McLaughlin pitting. It was a fairly good day for the Penske team. I say fairly good day. It was actually a fantastic day in IndyCar because it was an all Penske podium, and with Will Power winning. And this was his first victory since June 2022 in Detroit. So he got first. Joseph Newgarden finished second, and Scott McLaughlin in third. So it was a pretty solid day for Penske. And this was actually the first podium sweep by a team in IndyCar since Andretti, with Colton Herta, Alexander Rossi, and Ryan Hunter-Reay in September of 2020 at Mid-Ohio. And then Penske's last sweep actually happened in September of 2017 at Sonoma with Simon Pagenaud, Joseph Newgarden, and Will Power. So, bringing it back around. But Joseph Newgarden Will Power took the championship lead by 5 points over Alex Palou. So even though Will Power's only got one win this season, he is now at the top of the board. Okay, so Formula 1. First, I don't know if this happened before we filmed our last episode, but Sergio Checo Perez signed until 2026 for Red Bull, gave him a contract extension. Apparently, the Canada trophy was AI generated, and people seem to believe that Carlos has already signed for his 2025 team, and they believe that it's going to be announced before the Spanish Grand Prix. A lot of people think it's Williams because James Vowles has actually been very vocal about wanting Carlos Sainz at Williams. So we'll see how that goes. Yuki is going to be staying at Visa Cash App RB extends his contract. And people are assuming that Ollie Behrman is going to be signing with Haas for next year. So we spoke about the F1 movie with Brad Pitt that they're filming, and there was actually a pretty bad wreck while they were filming at Silverstone a couple days ago. So I wonder how that's going to affect their timeline of their movie.
Yeah.
But as for let's see, I think we'll go ahead and get into the weekend real quick. FP1, it was a wet practice, which was actually delayed by 20 minutes. And to make matters even worse, Zhou Guanyu hits the barrier, causing a red flag. And so Jack Doohan was originally supposed to be in the car, and didn't go out until about 2 minutes left and got about 3 laps. Not even a fast lap in the car, which was very unfortunate for him, because since with him being a reserve driver, he wants to get as many laps as possible in. And so Valtteri spun in FP1. Both Max and Daniel go off, all 3 of them in the same turn. And then in the session it ended up being Lando fastest, Carlos P2, and Charles P3. Rolling back a bit, I'm kind of jumping around, so it's gonna be a little chaotic this episode. So we know that Lando won in Miami, and we know that Zach Brown has a tattoo for Monza when Daniel won a couple years ago, with Lando coming second. Zach Brown got a Miami tattoo for Lando's first win. We're also going to get into the regulations, the 2026. The FIA revealed what regulations they're going to have in 2026. So we're gonna get into that a little later. FP2 again was a rainy session. Charles got an infringement, which I believe he was fined $5,000 for going out on the track on inters before the track was officially deemed wet by race control. There were quite a bit of groundhogs crossing the track, which is not unusual for Canada. Alex Albon almost into the Wall of Champions during FP2. Max actually smelled smoke coming from his car, so he retired from the session and actually ended up taking a new power unit before FP1, before the weekend started, so that could have possibly been that problem. It was very slippery in the hairpin. Charles actually full-on spins in the hairpin, and Lando had an incident noted for not using the escape road correctly, and the session ended with Alonso P1, George Russell P2, and Lance Stroll P3. So FP3 was the first dry session that they had, if I remember correctly. But it ended with Lewis Hamilton fastest, with Max right behind him and George in P3. So the Mercedes came to fight this weekend for sure. They definitely looked a lot better this weekend because George Russell took pole, which had an identical time to Max Verstappen. but because George logged the time first, he was the one to get pole. And some kind of surprising stuff. Checo, out in Q1, started 16th, I believe, either 16th or 18th. You had Logan Sargent almost make it to Q3. You had, let's see, both Mercedes in Q3, both McLarens in Q3. You had Daniel Ricciardo starting 5th. Yes, you heard me correctly. So we had quite a toss-up. Like I believe you had both Aston Martins. Let's see, you had both Aston Martins. You had both McLarens, both Mercedes, Daniel, Max, oh gosh, who were the other two? Oh, Alex Albon, made it to Q3. And then who? There was one other. I think it might have been Yuki. I think it might have been Yuki. But after George got pole, he did the intro pose. The one that like everybody's memeing him on, the hands out against the like walls and stuff. He did it after getting pole. But because of this qualifying, Logan Sargent has now out-qualified Checo Perez twice. In a Williams.
To be fair, Ryan Blaney is the one that did that pose first. George stole it from Blaney.
I did see that. And so, I want to say Jacques Villeneuve. I think that's how you say his name. Basically questioned why Daniel Ricciardo was still in F1, before qualifying, like earlier in the weekend. Basically saying that essentially saying he's washed, right? And then Daniel goes out and qualifies 5th. So we're back, baby. The honey badger is back. Let's see. And so the last time that P1 and P2 had the same exact time was in 1997 in the European Grand Prix, where also P3 had the exact same time. And Lando climbing up the fence after the race, taking a video of all the people out on the track. And so before we get into the race, we're gonna try to cover everything. Hey, can you watch, okay, so the trend on TikTok, it started off with, hey, can you watch my boyfriend? That was the general thing. Then other people started doing it, and so now there's one other, who was it? I know the Oscar one, and then there's a Toto one. There's one other though that I can't remember who it was. Was it?
Didn't McLaren did one, and it was Oscar and Lando both. They said, can you watch them?
It was only Oscar. It was only Oscar. I think I want to say it was oh gosh,
I don't know.
it wasn't Williams. Oh, it was Carlos.
Yeah,
Carlos.
just saw that one on my For You page not that long ago, actually.
But they started doing that trend, and they're honestly very funny. If you want to go watch them, they're on the internet for sure. Um,
They're on the internet.
Something that's kind of intertwined IndyCar and Formula One because this driver is a Williams Academy driver. Um, Jamie Chadwick races in Indy Next, and she got the Indy Next pole, and she won the Indy Next race. And she is the third woman in Indy Next history to win. So big ups to her. Love her. Checo is going to be have a three place grid penalty for the Spanish Grand Prix because of an infringement at Canada, which we will get to that. Okay, either way, I'm gonna try to explain as much as I can. So track was wet whenever they started the race, and the only two drivers on the full wet tires were the two Haas's. The rest of the drivers were on inters, which actually worked out in Kevin Magnussen's favor because he made it all the way up to fourth on the wet tires, which was absolutely insane for that. Let's see, the Ferraris were struggling for sure during the race, and I believe both of the Ferraris may have had engine issues. So Logan Sargent had a scare at turn 6 and slid towards the barriers, which he didn't hit anything, luckily. He backed up and kept going and got back on track. Let's see. You had Lewis Hamilton go too deep into turn 1 and run over the grass. And there was contact between Checo and Pierre Gasly, both of them having damaged bodywork coming out of that, and Daniel Ricciardo got a 5-second penalty for a false start, which you could see on his in-car camera. He was slowly creeping forward before the lights went off. And you had a lot of complaints coming from Charles Leclerc, and this was like a genuine fight for positions. So like this was one of the it wasn't a Max's run away with it race, and I think that's what has made it the best race so far of the season, to be honest. Like, as much I love Max, I'm a Max fan for sure, like through and through, but I have heard it from so many other people that they enjoyed this race so much more because there was a genuine fight.
Well, I mean, I see people say that they like it because it's not just like the Max show anymore. People are they're genuinely making their cars better to have a chance to even run up where Max is at. Oh.
So there was a possibility that Max was having suspension issues, and he could not go over curbs. He straight up said, he's like, yeah, no, if I take a curb, I'm gonna knock myself out. So he was having issues of that. a lot of people were missing the final chicane, so they had to take the runoff area, which worked out in Lando Norris's favor because George Russell was one of those people who missed that chicane, which is also the chicane that is with the Wall of Champions. So, if you know that you're not gonna make that, and there's a very big possibility you're gonna hit that wall, I would probably take the runoff too. I would take that escape road. Um, but so in turns 3 and 4, um, Logan Sargent spun exiting the 3 and 4 chicane that trickled a double yellow and brought out the safety car, which this is the moment that it ruined his car. He had to get out. They had to remove his car from the track. And this safety car came out in the worst possible time, because it's Lando Norris just barely missed pit entry to pit. So, which a lot of people, like, I've talked with this with a couple of my friends. It's kind of payback for Miami, where the safety car caught Max. So it goes around, comes around. So unfortunate, but it is what it is. Let's see. Oh my gosh, wait a second. Max's the message that the pit wall said to Max was, "What goes around comes around. That's Miami back." So there you go. Let's see. There was a point. So it started raining again, which actually, Charles went on to slicks, but because it started raining again, he had to go back in. And they were about to put intermediates on, but I believe this was the moment that he retired from the race because of his engine issues. And it was not going better for Carlos. And there was an incident between Carlos, Valtteri, and Ricardo that caused Carlos damage. I think as far as I remember, so the track started drying up. So they finished on actual tires, not inters or wets. Because I believe Pierre Gasly was the first one to swap. Let me see. And so Lando actually came out of the pits side by side with Max. And the reason Lando couldn't get a jump on Max is, one, Max's tires were warmer, and two, Lando almost lost it. Like, you could see the car slide out from under him, and he almost lost it. But yeah, it was a genuine fight between them. Let's see. And so finally, coming towards the end of the race, Checo Perez lost control of his car under braking into turn 6, and slid backwards into the barrier, which ruined his rear wing, and he drove the car back to the pits, which is where he got his infringement, because that car had a destroyed rear wing. It was not safe for him to drive that car back. But because of that, I believe they had to clear up debris. There were 5 cars that got DNF'd. Yuki Tsunoda lost control and slid over the grass, and there were a lot of cars that narrowly missed him. But ultimately, it was Max Verstappen who won. Lando Norris got by George Russell, and so second and third. Lewis Hamilton was fourth ahead of Oscar Piastri. And then it went the Aston Martins, Daniel Ricciardo, and the Alpines completing the top 10. The Haas's finished P11 and P12 just outside of the points. And because of Yuki Tsunoda's mess up, he ended up finishing 14th. And then the Kick Sauber cars finished after that. But ultimately, it was Carlos Sainz, Alex Albon, Checo Perez, Charles Leclerc, and Logan Sargent who had DNF'd from the race. A lot of that is going to be cut out because that's a lot of me just reading. Trying to figure out what was going on. I should have started writing stuff down like in the middle of the race, but anyway, let's go ahead and get on to this weekend. You have Iowa for both Xfinity and Cup. So they will be in Iowa this weekend. Let's see. INDYCAR is not racing this weekend. And they will be back next weekend. And also, Formula One is not racing this weekend. They will be back next weekend. So, that means we only got two races this weekend, and now we gotta do our picks. It's Iowa. Is Iowa an oval? Yes, Iowa.
I'm gonna say yes.
Iowa's an oval.
I'm gonna say yes.
The land of the corn. It's an asphalt track. It's classified as a short track. It's less than a mile, 0.88. So, who we got? I don't remember last year's race in Iowa. So.
You weren't in Iowa.
They didn't race Iowa. This is a new track.
Oh, I was thinking INDYCAR is raced in Iowa.
NASCAR has never raced in Iowa, so it's anybody's game. But for Xfinity, I picked Sammy because it's his home track.
Okay.
And then I picked Parker as my long shot.
Which Parker?
Kligerman.
Okay.
That's what I picked.
Well, some big names in the Xfinity series this week.
Yeah.
Daniel Dye, Brett Moffitt, John Hunter Nemechek is coming back. Corey Heim is racing. Joey Gaze is running his own car. Then the 53 is still undetermined, but you have Ross Chastain is going to be in the 92 for DGM. Trying to think. You said.
I said Sammy Smith and Parker Kligerman.
Okay.
I'm gonna go JC Love as my winner, and then I'm gonna go Corey Heim as my long shot.
Ooh.
The two lookalikes, the twin lookalikes, because they look so much alike. It's not even funny.
Oh gosh. Hmm. Oh gosh, I don't know.
I literally picked these people before we even started, but also could have went to the Iowa race because I'm only 6 hours away from it.
Only
We
6
actually thought about
hours.
we actually thought about going. If they go next year, we might go, but I don't know.
Oh gosh, I don't. I think I'm gonna. Honestly, I'm 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 probably gonna be far off with this, but I'm gonna go for a Ryan Sieg.
Okay.
We're gonna see how that goes. And then you know what? I'll go Brandon Jones.
You know, I really want Brandon to get a win because I feel like he gets close, but then he always ends up getting
He's
and then he
had
always ends up getting screwed, and it makes me feel so bad because he's been at Junior Motorsports what, 2, 3 years?
2 years. This is
two
his second
years,
year.
and he is struggling hardcore. Like it physically hurts me because he's so nice, and I just want him to get a win
I know.
so bad.
Okay. Who do we got for Cup?
Well, I said Chris Buescher as the winner because I feel like at some point he'll be getting a win, and then I did my long shot as Todd.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Blaney as my winner, and then Noah as my long shot.
Okay.
Man, we're really going with the Fords for Cup.
I was about to say Ryan Priest is my winner.
Okay.
Now hold on. Now I gotta choose another Ford. It's a long
we're
shot.
really we're really going with the Fords for Cup. We're really manifesting a Ford to do something.
You know what? I'll go Josh Berry then. All
Okay.
Fords. We'll run it. We'll run it with the Fords.
Wow, you guys said 3 of the Stewart Haas people,
Let's see. The only one we didn't get is Chase Briscoe.
which I actually almost said Briscoe as my long shot, but I was like, you know what? I'll go good old Toddy Todd.
so we got Chris Buescher, Todd Gilliland, Blaney, Noah, Ryan Priest, Josh Berry. See, the reason
Yup.
so I chose the 2 short track racers. So hopefully it'll work out.
Hopefully.
We didn't choose Riley or Cole in the Xfinity.
For once. It's a miracle.
Fine. I went with the hometown boy instead. Hopefully he can get something done, but you know.
We'll see. We'll see.
At this point, I feel like I just say their names and then it's automatic. Oh, look how I said my name. I'm screwed. So then they're out because that's normally how it goes, and it kind of hurts me. Well, like whatever.
Oh, we technically forgot to go over the new Formula 1 regulations, but we'll save let me do my research on that. We'll talk about that next week.
Next week.
So, alrighty. Well, that's I believe that does it.
Let's go.
Are we ready?
I think so.
Okay. All right. Thank you guys for watching, for listening, however you enjoy our podcast. This has been the 18th episode of the Trackside Girls podcast, and we're gonna sign off. And okay, let's try this again. Okay, it goes peace,
Peace.
love,
Oh,
and race
Race car.
cars. All
I,
right. night, everybody.